Good morning, everyone, and hi, folks. Uh, I know it's Sunday morning, and you have some plans to do. You have some things for the weekend, but we are here with a new event, and as we are doing some monthly events and sessions, we are continuing the legacy right now. So today we are gonna learn about the cloud space, and we are having a very renowned speaker over here, who's Sankalp Paranjape, and he has been doing some great work in the cloud space. Like he's AWS Cloud Captain, as well as he leads AWS Cloud Club in the Pune. Currently, he's finally a student learning in the MIT ADT University, and he holds very good knowledge in the AWS cloud space with two certifications of AWS, as well as he's been a very good speaker delivering the key points and whatever the roadmap pathways, and he's knowledgeable things that he have learned throughout his way in the community. And today he's also gonna do the same, and he's gonna share some knowledge and some, I'll say, hands-on perspective to our audience, and to everyone who's interested to getting started with the AWS, and like arranging and set up, doing some proper like building some proper CI/CD pipelines using the AWS. So I guess we are very well ready to rock your Sunday, and just making this Sunday morning very practical and useful for you. So let me add Sankalp, and yeah, hi Sankalp.
Hi, Vibhav. Thank you for
Yeah,
this great
so
opportunity to speak.
yeah, thank you for joining us today. It has been very honored as well as proud for us to have you on our stage, and we are doing this virtually to so that many of the folks from around the globe, around anywhere, they can join and watch it later as well. They can learn something from it, and I'm pretty sure that you will deliver a very hands-on thing to them, and let them, like, help them to start with the CI/CD on AWS.
Yeah.
So yes, Sankalp, if you want to say a few words, you can share it as well, or like if you want to start with the presentation, we can start as well.
Okay, so this online sessions initiative by Club TechBrewers is a very great initiative because on a Sunday, people around the globe can get access to these sessions and learn something new every weekend. So this is a great opportunity for everyone around the globe. So yes, let's start with the session. Could you please add the slides to stage and then we can start it.
Yeah, yeah, sure. Also, folks, don't forget to show some excitement, or let it be an interactive session. Like, I know that it's hosted on YouTube, going live right now, but you can also share your doubts, or if you want to ask anything, you can put it in the comments, and we will make sure. Also, Sankalp will make sure that he'll answer like most of your doubts, and we can keep it interactive as well. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's start the presentation.
Okay. So today we'll be talking about from code to deployment, building efficient CI/CD pipelines on AWS. So in this session, we'll try to get introduced to DevOps, AWS DevOps, and then we will building the CI/CD pipelines on AWS. So how to do that? So this is the basic diagram from the official AWS website. At the start of session, we are seeing that, and later we'll try how to create this particular pipeline. Okay, so already Webhub has introduced myself, so I'll directly be continuing the session. So what we'll cover, so basically what is DevOps, then Amazon's DevOps story, then the developer code services of AWS, and then how we can create the DevOps pipelines, CI/CD pipelines on AWS. So now, what is DevOps? So basically, DevOps is the integration of cultural philosophies, practices, and tools where we are able to deliver the software efficiently. Means previously in the traditional approach, there were many flaws. And as DevOps came, we are able to speed up the deployment process, and we are able to deliver that particular software to customers in efficient and fast manner. Okay, so what are the benefits of DevOps? The first thing is the improved collaboration. So DevOps, developer operations. So basically, there are different teams: development teams, operations teams, and even DevSecOps is there. So you are integrating security with it, right? So DevSecOps. So it helps in improved collaboration of different teams. Then rapid delivery. So since all the teams are collaboratively working and doing the task, so you are able to deliver the product fast and rapid manner. Then your product is reliable, you follow all the cloud computing principles, the AWS well architected framework is there, etc. Other frameworks are there, so your software is reliable. Then again, security. As we talk about DevSecOps, so security is the one of the important constraint. Your first priority should be security, and then other priorities like cost optimization and other things come. So it is very important your software or your web application or anything that should be very secure. Okay, then scale. So as per your requirement, as per your need, as per applications need, you should be able to scale it. So there are different auto scaling strategies available in AWS which will help you to scale your application. And again, speed is very important, because as we are evolving, the speed of development, the speed of delivering the software is increasing. Why? Because we are having efficient strategies, DevOps practices, DevOps tools, and the collaborative working of the teams, due to which we are able to deliver the software in a fast manner. So these are few of the benefits of DevOps which we are seeing. Then DevOps culture. Basically, Dev and Ops are coming together. Means developer teams and operations teams are coming together, right? There's a shared responsibility. Whatever dev team is doing, then operations team is doing, etc. And obviously, they have a ownership. And with that, visibility and communication is there. So customer has a visibility, and all the communication with project manager and whole team is there. So DevOps is bringing a culture where you are able to uh, efficiently create a software. Then a few of the DevOps practices. One of the thing is that creating microservices, right? So we see that many of the applications are in a microservices manner. So what does a microservice means? So for each service, we create one particular like we have multiple servers, and each service is defined on a one server. And we can see that for each service there is one this block. So in this manner, you are able to scale a particular service. If you consider a banking application, so there are different there are different services, payment services there, registration services there, loan services there, the n number of services are there. So if you want to scale a specific service, and if it's a monolithic application, then you need to scale everything regards that you, if you don't have a need also. But if you have a microservice architecture, then you can able to scale a specific service also. So there are a few best practices, DevOps best practices. Now how the things happen, how actually from code to deployment process happens. So there are four major phases, we can say: source, build, test, and production. So what happens? Source is the basically your source code. uh, if your application is written in Java, so Java files will be there, or basically whatever code files, source code files are there at the source. Then you try to build that particular code. Okay, So you compile the code, you try to do unit tests, you try to create container images, docker images. Okay, you have built servers, so continuous integration happens, and all the test cases are run, all the this unit tests are run. Okay, after that test phase comes where we are able to test that particular application. We have load testing, we have UI testing, and etc other testing. And now after doing the testing only, your production your application is going to the production. So it is ensured that it isn't having any bugs or any errors, because if a bug is discovered after going on a production, it costs very high. Okay, it costs a very high to uh, company when a bug is reported by a security person. Okay, and it might be possible that if there is a security attack, company might suffer from a great financial loss. So it is very necessary to test our application in the stages and then only deploy it to the production. Now continuous integration, continuous delivery, and deployment. So when you write your code, when the source code is basically written, uh, it is pushed to a specific repository. Okay, so continuously you try to integrate your code. So if you are using Jenkins, then there are webhooks. If other CI tools you are using, other tools are there which will help you in the continuous integrations. Okay, then continuous delivery and continuous deployment. So at the same time, after testing continuously, you try to deploy your code. So there are different environments: staging environment, production environment, pre-production, or there are different environments in the companies that helps in CI/CD processing. So continuous integration, continuous delivery, and deployment. Now infrastructure as a code. So you can go to AWS console or any cloud console. Okay, and try to create some resources, maybe EC2 instance or database instance, RDS instance, or anything, any infrastructure. Okay, but when you are working in an organization or working for a software, you create that infrastructure as a code. So you can use AWS Cloud Formation, which is one of the IIC service from AWS, which will help you to create your infrastructure using code. Other than that, you can use the Terraform, you can use Pulumi or any other infrastructure as a code to set up your infrastructure. Then monitoring and logging. So when you have deployed your application, it is very necessary to enable the logs. Okay, so whatever activity is happening, you will have a log of it. And again, you will have multiple tools. So AWS has CloudWatch. Okay, to check the whatever the logs are there. Then you are able to get the real time performance, means what is happening. So using monitoring, we can have different auto scaling strategies also. There is example, like we always say, like if an instance is having CPU usage more than 80%, scale it. Okay, so monitoring and logging are very very important practices. Now Amazon story. So there are different architectures, like as we said, monolithic architecture or microservices or whatever is there. So this is how microservice look like. So it's a decoupled architecture. Okay, so there are single purpose service, each is the one of the service, and they are only connected by the APIs. Okay, so for each service you have different servers, and they are connected with the APIs. And the data is not shared, or it can be shared, but data is not shared for each. It's a decoupled architecture, so you are able to scale it more. Okay, now as you can see that there are so many developers, there are so many services. Those will be deployed, I means those will be built, test, and release, means those will be deployed. Those are delivery pipelines. Now you consider there are so many teams. Okay, thousands of teams, then those will create thousands of lakhs of microservice architecture. Then it will be the continuous DCD when this delivery will be there. There are multiple environments are there. So consider so many deployments in a year. So isn't it amazing, right? Then we have discipline. Basically, as a team, you have to follow some of the processes, you have to follow some of the practices, and that will help you to deploy that particular application. You should understand what is your responsibility as working in a team, in a DevOps team. You should have your understanding. And we can say that everything is not a microservice, right? So as we will see how to create a CI/CD pipeline, we will see how to deploy a microservice. We will see how to deploy and see whatever things are there in the further slides. Okay, so as we saw, infrastructure as a code. So we should deploy our CI/CD pipelines. We should create our CI/CD pipelines automatically, means using infrastructure as a code. Also, we should deploy gradually, and we should monitor everything. So these are some of the best practices. Then we should have metrics and everything. So now, what are the AWS services? AWS DevOps services are used for creating CI/CD pipeline. So, firstly, you have code commit. So, it is one of the Git repository, uh, which will help you. It is basically for storing your code. It is native AWS Git repository. Then code deploy. It helps you to deploy your code on different services like EC2 or on ECS and other services, containerized environments. It helps you to deploy. Then there comes a service called AWS Code Build, which helps you to build your code and run some of the test cases. And if you want to automate all these things, you can use code pipeline. So you can add your source, you can add your build, you can build stage, then you can add where you want to deploy, and then create a pipeline. Okay, now if you want to do this using infrastructure as a code, you have a AWS Cloud Formation. It is one of the services provided by AWS for using ISC. Then you have ops work. So if you want to do configuration management, so we have Ansible in general DevOps. On AWS, you can use ops work for that. And then again, AWS config is there, which tries to check the configurations and alert you when if there is some change in that particular configuration. You can have the rules there, and then according to rules it will give you some alert. Then next, for monitoring and logging, you can use Amazon CloudWatch, okay, and CloudTrail basically checks your API calls, checks your API calls, and then if anything is there, you can directly check those logs and use those particular logs. So CloudTrail logs, CloudWatch events, and these things are then sent to Amazon Guard Duty, which is another service, which is specifically related to security. Uh, so that we can monitor our environment and then find the security findings. Then if we want to deploy our application, so there is one option, that is Elastic Beanstalk. Okay, so it is a platform as a service. Other than Elastic Beanstalk, you can deploy it on Elastic Container Service, Elastic Kubernetes Service. You can deploy it on EC2 instances. So there are many options those you can use to deploy our applications. Then as we saw about the services, so how it does happen. So starting we saw four stages: source, build, test, and production. Okay, so first you are able to see source. So your source code is in code commit. Okay, then you are building and then testing. So for testing you are using some of the third party tools, and even AWS has its tools. So one of the tool of is DevOps Guru, which uses machine learning algorithms, and it tries to analyze your code, okay, and gives you whatever issues are there. So it's one of the new services of AWS. And then you can deploy it to production using AWS Code Deploy. To automate all these processes, we are using code pipeline. Okay, so this is there, and now coming to the specifically, we will be seeing how to use these services to create the CI/CD pipelines. First, code commit. So it's a managed Git source control. So it's a managed service provided by AWS to store your code, and it uses standard Git tools. So you can use a Git commands and connect with Git and everything. You can do that. Also, at backend, it uses Amazon S3, basically Amazon S3 DynamoDB, and there is no size repo size, and encryption is handled by customer specific keys. So you can have your cryptographic keys, and as well as you can have post commit hooks. Basically to call out the SNS or Lambda. So if you want that after committing, a trigger should be there, or a Lambda function should be triggered, or a notification should be triggered to a user, maybe to a Slack notification or something like that. So you can do that. So it is one of the secure, scalable, and managed Git service. Now, how it actually works. So you can have get pull push through SSH or HTTPS. So you can create HTTPS get credentials, and then you can configure it in the CLI. And basically you can use it is similar to Git, and you can store your code there. Same experience as Git you can see. So in the AWS CLI we can configure that. Now, building and testing our application in the CI/CD pipeline. So for building, we use a service called Code Build. So it's a fully managed service that compiles your source code, runs tests, and produces software packages. So it is a managed service. Okay, so you are able to build multiple projects. You are able to build multiple projects concurrently. You can create Docker images. You can do everything. So basically it helps you in building the project. And again, for code build you can use code pipeline as well as Jenkins integration. Okay, now, how does it works? So it downloads the source code from the repo and execute a specific command. So you have those particular commands written in a build spec file. So in code pipeline, you can write your own own specific instructions, insert commands, or you can use a build spec file. So if you have a default name of buildspec.yml file in your repository, you would be able to you would be basically able to directly fetch the instructions. Okay, and you can have the artifacts, whatever artifacts are there, you can generate them and upload them in the S3 bucket. So this is how a code build functions. Then as I said, automation. So how I am able to automate, right? So I am able to automate by integrating it in a code pipeline, which we will be seeing in the demo section. Then it's a pluggable. So using API, you can use that, or you can even use code build from AWS CLI. Then bring your own build environment. So you can create your own Docker images, own using own tools. So this is a great feature. And again, we can work with the Jenkins plugin. So we can have open source integration with this. Now, this is the example of one of the buildspec.yml file where you can see the version is there. So version 0.1. Then you are having some environment variables. Then you are able to see phases. So in first thing is install phase. So there are some command you are updating and you are installing Maven, which is one of the package manager for Java application, because you can see that there is some Java application here. Then pre-build, so there is nothing to do in pre-build. Now in build, you are saying you are echoing that started on this particular date and Maven is installed. Now again, post build artifact and where the artifact will be stored. So this is a very basic example of sample buildspec.yml file which code build uses to build its applications. Now, building, what actually means basically? So building means that those particular languages which requires compiled binaries. So there are languages like .NET languages or Java or Ruby or Go. So these require some compiled binaries, or even we require Docker images. So in this particular phase, we create the Docker images or container images, and then those images are used to deploy on a later stage. So there are few languages which do not require building. So those are PHP, Ruby, Python, Node.js. So you can just have your code, have those code in the repository, your source control repository, and then you can directly deploy it. Building is not required for those. Then how to deploy? How to deploy in the CI/CD pipeline. So next phase comes the deployment phase. So using code deploy, you can automate your deployment processes. So you can deploy your instances on EC2, you can deploy your instances on Elastic Container Service or your Elastic Kubernetes Service. After that, it helps in rolling back your applications also. So if any error is there, if any failure is there, so it will help you to roll back also. And downtime is low, or down using code deploy, you are able to avoid the downtime and handle the complexity, because the applications are very complex. We are creating microservices and etc. So code deploy will help you. So again, it integrates with third party tools and AWS. So there are few common terminologies and components. So one is the application, means whatever you are deploying, right? You have a code, your application is there, and you are trying to deploy it. So that is your application. Then revision. So you are making some of the changes in the repository. You introduced one feature, or you deprecated one feature, or something you did to your particular application. So again, version is formed. So those version are called revisions. Now those application, those versions will be deployed. So we create a deployment group. So deployment group is the group of instances where your application is deployed. Means there are set of EC2 instances where your application is getting deployed using AWS code deploy service. So instance basically is the target instance. So you can create your EC2 instances on the EC2 console, and you will be able to directly deploy a code there. If you use EBS service, then it's a platform as a service. You need not to manage the instances, right? So even you have more efficiency using that, because you are not managing the services, infrastructure services basically. Now, application is the highest level of the container, and revisions are attached to it. So we'll see that in the demo. And those particular revisions can be uploaded to Amazon S3 or GitHub, or these revisions or these versions can be deployed onto the deployment group. So whatever deployment groups are there, you can deploy those on that. Now when you are setting your instances, right? So you have to allow the permissions to code deploy. Means you will create a IAM role where you will be giving some permissions. Okay. So then only code deploy will be able to deploy the applications. Then first thing, when you have created your instances, you have to tag the instance. Okay. So while using auto scaling group, it is very important. Then you install the agent, and then you verify the agent is running or not running. Okay. So, how you can group the instances? So there are different EC2 tags available. Okay, then you can have on-premise tags or auto-scaling groups. Then, since you are using a DevOps practices, there are different types of environments, like the DevOps like developer environment or QA or prod or etc. Then how you are deploying in a one go, or you are deploying basically in a single instance, or you are deploying in a strategy called blue green deployment strategy, or alpha beta testing, or etc. So you have variety, you have various options to choose out of it, that how you can deploy your instances. Okay, so this AWS provides us with variety, and according to our needs, if you want uh, blue green deployment, you can do that. If you want it through a single instance, I want, you can surely do that. You can create different environments to ensure uh, the pipeline and security and everything, the applications basically, all the considering all the prospects of the application. So AWS allows you with various features, which we will see on the console in few minutes. So let us proceed now. And for code deploy, we need a file called appsec.yml. So for building our application, we had buildspec.yml. Then for deploying, we need appsec.yml. So we are able to see that the version 0.0, then operating system is Linux, then some files are there, and something is happening, some scripts are there. So uh, before installation, after installation, some scripts have to be run. So these are written in appsec file. Then this is one of the example. So we are able to see that there are some files. So source is this, destination of file is this. So you are sending some applications file from one directory, and again you are giving some permissions, so of what is the particular object, then owner, the group, and whatever 755 the permissions which we are giving. Then we are again here removing or adding the ELB. So this is a specific case where elastic load balance, or we are trying to run this particular script. Then we are installing dependency packages, and then Apache server is start, and again it is confirming the successful deployment. So it is one of the example of appsec.yml file. Okay, now there are deployment configurations. So how actually it will be deployed? So one at a time. So you can see that one server at a time, those are configured. Then half at a time. So you see four in one, four ones and other four ones, and all at once. Or again you can specify. So using this, you can able to configure that. Now, as we have seen, code commit, code build, code deploy, to automate all the things, we will use code pipeline. So from the source, you can pull your code, you will build your code, you will have the unit testing. Now you will deploy it. Again, you have UI testing, load testing. You have another environment here called Gamma, and then you can have other testing, and you can deploy it in the production. So there are different regions where you are deploying, or different strategies you are using: canary deployment, blue green deployment, etc. So this will automate the whole process, I should say. And now we will see this diagram. We saw this particular diagram at the start, right? So first is the author, Cloud9 or AWS IDE toolkit. So Cloud9 is one of the integrated development environment provided by AWS. It is native to AWS. Okay, you can use your IDs like VS Code or other IDs. Then source, so source is AWS code commit. Okay, our repository. Then for building, AWS code build. Then again in the using AWS code build and some of the third party tools, you will be able to test it. So for testing, few software, we use few softwares like Sonar Cube or Trevi or etc., which we'll see at the later stage. So those are used. Then code deploy, and after deployment, you will have to monitor it using CloudWatch logs or Prometheus or other tools, and whole thing will be automated by code pipeline. Again, you have various ways to use the AWS console. So you used for configuration, you can use console, you can use CDK, you can use CLI, and various other things, various other options you have. And AWS SAM is there if you want to deploy a serverless application. Okay, so let us now go to the console, and then we will see uh, how to do that. So now we are on our AWS console. You are able to see. Now we will go to code commit. Okay, so here is the service. So private Git repository or Git repositories are there. But as of now, I have created some repositories. But let us go use some other strategies to deploy our application. Okay, so you are able to see developer tools are there. Then for source you have code commit, artifact code artifact is there, for build code build, deploy for code deploy, pipeline code pipeline. So all the developer tools you are able to see at the left panel. Now for you, we will try to create a build project. Okay, okay, so we'll try to write and give a name like demo project, demo project for a club, for a club TechBrewers session. So demo project club. Then we will provide a source. So as of now, what we'll be trying to do is that we will deploy one of the application. So it's there on my GitHub. So I have forked it from one of the repositories. So I'll use the GitHub. Then it will, since my GitHub is connected, it won't ask me. But if you do at your end, it will ask you to connect your GitHub first. So let us see which particular. So I want to deploy this sample Tomcat. So I have connected this repository. Now you have to choose primary source of webhook. So whenever code is changed or whenever code is pushed, so you want to rebuild it every time. So as of now we don't have to do that, so we won't check this. But if you want, according to your need, you can do this. Now coming to the environment. So we are using the provisioning model that is on demand. So it will automatically provision your build infrastructure according to your need. Okay, or else you can have your reserved capacity where you can reserve your instances, and then you can use those particular instances for building. Now again, and images, so environment image. So you can specify your own Docker image. Okay, you can bring your own image, bring your own environment, as we saw in the PPT. So you can specify your own image, or you can have the managed image from AWS code build. Then again, which particular compute service, so EC2 or Lambda. So I'm using EC2 because I want to deploy our application and uh, use this particular service. Then operating system Amazon Linux, runtime standard runtime is available. Then I'm using latest image. Always use latest image, and it will create a new service role. So basically, what is exactly a service role? So using service role, this particular service is able to do some task at a later stage. So a role is required to a service to do some task. Now you are able to see this particular section, build spec. So you can insert the commands, okay, and you can use the build spec YML file. So if you want to check, mm, okay, so AWS samples. Okay, we'll see this repository. So this is from one of the AWS official samples that is verified, and this is a sample application. So we are able to see that there is a buildspec.yml file. Okay, so this is there, and I have fetched this through my through Git repository. So you are able to see that in above. I have connected my Git repository here using GitHub connection, and I'll use the build spec file as I already have that. Okay. And artifacts, so we will have some artifacts. So I have already created one bucket uh, which will be doing that. And artifact packaging will be zip, means AWS code build will be uploading it in a zip file. Okay. And logs, CloudWatch logs are there, so we are enabling those particular logs. And let us create a project. What happened? Service role. Okay. Service role is invalid. Valid characters. Okay, understood. So there is extra space here. Okay. We will leave some of the option as default, as we are uh, building a simple application and we don't want to make it very complex. We will create this build project again. Something, something missing. Okay. Yeah. So one space bar was there. Now we will build our project. It's creating. Yeah. So project is created, and as of now we are not manually building it. We will do that using code pipeline. Okay. So now we will go to code deploy, and we will create a application. You would find some of my previously created applications. Right now we will create. So our application name is demo project. Okay. Then compute platform. I want to deploy it on EC2 instances. Okay. So I'll create an application here, and then I have to create deployment group. As we saw in the slides, we have to create deployment group. So I'll give a name. Okay. uh, Deployment group. Then we have to give the service role. So I have created a service role giving those particular permission to this service. So we will use existing service role. Now deployment type. So how we will deploy our application, in place or a blue green deployment. Okay. So right now I don't want to make things complex, so I am using in place deployment. So during deployment, each instance will be taken offline for its update. But in blue green, basically new instances in blue green, it replaces the instances in the deployment group with new instances. Okay. And it doesn't have downtime. Now we will see the environment configurations. So now we have different options: EC2 auto scaling groups, EC2 or on-premise instances. So I will go with EC2 instances. Now for this we have to create EC2 instances, right? So I'll show you. I have my app servers running. I have my app servers running. I have created those particular two instances in my EC2 instances. Okay, so see, this is app server, and second one, which is two app servers. Those are T2 micro instances are running. So let us use them only. Okay, so name and app server. So on this key value, on this tag, those particular instances will be those particular code will be deployed on those two instances. We are able to see if for this tag two unique instances are matching. Okay. Now we are seeing deployment settings. So code deploy will be deploying, like we saw the configuration, right? Deploy at once, all at once, or half at once. So mm, we are able to deploy it. So we are using one at a time, half at a time, or all at a time. So as of now, why to make things complex, we will use all at a time. Then as of now we haven't configured any load balancer. So let us disable that and create the deployment group. Yeah. So we have successfully created it. Now we will go to code pipeline. Okay, and create a new pipeline. So we have to give the pipeline name. So club demo pipeline. Then there are two versions, basically v1 and v2. So according to your need, uh, your features and pricing, you can decide which pipeline is right for me. So it gives that v1 pipelines have JSON structures that contain standard pipeline stages and action level parameters. So v2 have same as v1, but additional to it, some parameter support such as triggers on git tags or pipeline level variables are available. So according to your need, you can choose that. So as of now, let us go with v2. Then again, new service role will be created. So as we saw previously, we require a service role for each service. Okay, so at the later stage, AWS code pipeline will be able to create and use this particular service role in the pipeline. We don't have to configure any pipelines right now. So firstly, we have choose the pipeline settings. Okay, you can see various steps are mentioned here on the left side. So choose pipeline settings. We have done this. Now we have to add the source. So uh, in the build stage we did that, so we were manually doing that, and even using build code deploy, I would have able to deploy that particular application. But why to do that manually, right? We have code pipeline available. So using code pipeline, we will do that. So it's asking me to connect to GitHub. Okay, so now I'll have to connect it to GitHub. You have successfully authenticated your account. Then repository. So I'll search for this particular repository which I want to deploy, and I'll select the branch. So then again, detection. So how do you want the detection options? So first is GitHub webhooks or AWS code pipeline. So GitHub, basically you can enable the webhooks in GitHub, and as soon as some changes occurs, it will detect and inform the pipeline. Also, AWS code pipeline will check periodically. So I want AWS code pipeline. Then build. So we have AWS code build, or we can use Jenkins also. So in code build, I have created a project, that is demo project club, which we created, and we are having a build type that is single build. Basically, in a single build, we will have a deploy and we will build our application. Else, we can have batch build also according to our needs. Then deploy. So we use code deploy. Okay, then the region is that application name. So our application name is demo project club. Okay, then we created deployment group, so club demo deployment group. Then we will see all the settings, so pipeline name, version, execution mode. Then we haven't used any variables. Then source provider, so who is the owner? Sankalp SP070. I have forked that particular official repository from AWS samples GitHub repository. Then repo name is this. Then AWS code build is the will be there for build stage and deploy stage. So we will create a pipeline. Okay, so it will create the pipeline. Let us wait for some time. Okay, so it will created a pipeline, and we can see there are different stages there: source, build, and deploy. So till the time it creates, so we will wait. So as of now it is not running. We can see that it will start running. So see, source phase is succeeded, it has detected the repository, and now it will build. Okay, so till the time it builds, let us go through the PPT. Vaibhav, could you add the PPT to the screen? Yeah, thank you. Okay, so using those particular services, we saw how to create a pipeline. It is yet to be processed, and it is in the creation process. So using the services, we saw how the pipeline is created. Now what is CloudTrail? So CloudTrail is a managed service which is used to record your API call. So whatever activity you do through console, through CLI, through SDK, through anything, it will try to record those. Uh, and it you can basically uh, use that in case you have some miss activity or anything wrong in your environment. Now, Elastic Beanstalk. So, Elastic Beanstalk is one of the platform as a service that can be used for deploying, scaling, and managing your web applications. So, as of now, we deployed on EC2 instances. So, we have to take care. We have to install that particular EC2 instance. We have to install packages and etc. But using Elastic Beanstalk, you don't have to do that. It's some one of the platform as a service. Now, what's next? Means this session is going to end, right? In few minutes it will end. So, for you guys, what you have to do next? One thing you would have learned to create pipeline using AWS services through console, but next step would be you should create it using IAC, that is infrastructure as a code. And because in all the organizations we basically use cloud formation or terraform or any other IAC tool. So try to learn IAC and then you can deploy similar pipeline using IAC. Okay. Console demonstration is okay, but IAC is much preferred. So this is cloud formation. So it has some of the features like it is configurable, using it uses modular style of coding. Then we can use reuse our code, obviously one of the main motives of the infrastructure as a code. So you can explore this further. And yes, so security. So there are tools which will help us to integrate the security. We have from the starting of the session till now we are talking about DevOps, CI/CD pipeline, etc. But we haven't talked about security testing, right? So you can integrate tools like OWASP, ZAP, Trivi, SonarQube, dependency check, checkmarks, Clear, and there are n number of tools available. Some of them are open source, some of them have enterprise versions. So there are different phases of testing, like SAST is there, static application security testing, then DAS, dynamic application security testing, or you have SCA, source code composition analysis, software composition analysis, basically. So to check different vulnerabilities and security bugs in your code. So this is very important aspect of CI/CD pipeline. So when you see a pipeline, means there are two aspects basically. One is the DevOps aspect, one is the cloud aspect. You are creating and building the pipeline. But when you see it from a security aspect, you try to exploit some vulnerabilities or you try to find some loopholes. So various tools like these help us in the testing. So I would say that integrate security means basically security is not a responsibility of security team, rather it is everyone's responsibility. So Vernal Vogels, who is the Amazon CTO, so he has recently, like in his one of the keynote said, security is the everyone's responsibility and not specifically of the security team. So be it you are an infrastructure engineer, you are a DevOps engineer, you are a security engineer, you are anything in the organization, security is very very important. So you should be very serious about the security. Okay. Then I would like to give some of the credits, some of the amazing content created by Bruno Rees, Chuck Mayers, Nico Water, and AWS documentation. These helped me to create this and use this presentation to explain in this particular session. So I would like to thank them and give the credits. Now we are at the end of the session. So thank you, and you guys can connect with me on LinkedIn. And if you have any doubts, so we are open for Q&A. And if you want to connect with me, so even we can discuss on LinkedIn or whatever. That. So we are at the end of the session.
Yeah, thank you, Sankalp. Thank you so much. Like it was very, I'll say, very well structured and very hands-on thing because we have conducted various virtual sessions till now, and it was the most practical, I can say, the session we have like hosted on virtual platform, and we have kept it very well thorough and easy for the folks. I can totally also we have shared the importance of security, which I can relate very well to. And I have been using personally. I have been using Docker, and we have been doing some DevSecOps work as well in the
Okay.
Jenkins. So yeah,
Okay.
I can relate to this, but like AWS part was a totally new thing for me because I have only exploited a few of the AWS, I'll say, different features. Like they have S3. We have been exploiting S3s and E2s as well, but this was
Okay.
totally new for me as well. And
Yeah.
I guess we can take the doubts now, as I can see there's one question from folks, and
Yeah.
yeah, I'll display it for you.
Can we use the AWS code build code pipeline for personal projects? Is there any free trial or credits available for the students? So code build is chargeable basically per minute something, or per build you have charged. But if you have credits, so AWS has a program, uh, different types of credit programs are there. So one, I would suggest that if you are working on any of the startup projects, right, if you have your own startup and you are working on that, so there is a program called AWS Activate. Okay. So using that you get some 1,000 or 2,500 credits, dollar credits. You can use that, and again you can increase the scope. So I have one of my blog where I have been writing about the credits, so I'll share that with you. So you will be able to check how you can create these particular projects using credits. Then again you get credits in the AWS community program. So using those, basically, as I am a AWS Cloud Captain, so in the community program you have those benefits, as you get some blogs in that, you get some credits in that. So you can go through this particular blog, and then you can get the credits.
Okay, yeah, that's very nice, I guess, because joining being a participant of a community definitely helps a lot, and I'm pretty sure that being in the AWS space, like community space, will help to cover up some, I'll say, expenses, getting some credits, and trying the hands-on stuff from AWS as well. So yeah, and okay, Sana asked for resources. So do you have any kind of resources? I have been seeing and reading your newsletter as well. You are doing pretty much good in newsletters, and yeah, if you have anything to share, those newsletters, where so that our folks can also explore AWS as much as possible, and like uh, get their pathway and roadmap into it.
Okay, so if you want to create and learn some hands-on, okay, so I would suggest you to go through AWS blogs. There are different AWS blogs available on official website. Also, there is a website called aws.workshops, or workshop.aws, similar to that. So it has some of the great workshops which gives you hands-on on various domains. Like it has different domains like security or deployment or compute services, storage services. So that will give you a real-time hands-on. Okay. Then other than that, we as a AWS Cloud Club captains, we have camps. So infrastructure camp is there, or different camps are there. So AWS gives you those particular like AWS provisions account for you. Okay, for a day we can have that particular session, and then AWS provisions account, you can do those hands on, and you can have your product, and again you will have something to showcase. So there are there is some Udemy courses as well. Those are very very beneficial. So I'll try to combine in an article, and then I'll share with Webhub. So Webhub, you can share it with the audience.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, that will be really grateful, I guess. Also, we have a doubt from Abhi. Uh,
Okay.
Abhijit asking about AWS code pipeline.
Okay.
Okay,
So
yeah.
can you explain how AWS code pipeline handles rollback scenario in case of deployment failures? Okay, so there are some health checks and there are some actions defined, predefined. Okay, so if those health checks are not passed, it will roll back. Again, if there is an instance, right? So we can configure the health checks, and if those particular health check is failed, means that particular instance is not healthy, then it will roll back. So it's all managed. So automatically it will do that. Basically, health checks
Okay.
are used.
Oh, so it has everything set up already in the code pipeline, I guess.
Yeah, but you have to set up the health checks. Means
Okay.
it's according to means need, means whatever health checks the customer is setting, then according to that it will trigger rollback.
Okay, so I guess it is kind of like we are setting some rules, kind of
Yeah,
configurations
correct,
on the node.
correct, correct,
Also,
correct.
like I have been using Prometheus and Grafana as well for the logging and monitoring setup.
Okay,
And we
okay,
have been using AWS. Few of the like our servers hosted on AWS, and we like monitoring all the stuff. So I guess it covers a lot of things while keeping it secure as well. We have been setting up some rules on Prometheus as well. So yeah, it is. I can definitely say that AWS is doing great work over here. And yeah, as we have also suggested about what the folks can do after like letter decision, I really like that aspect of you keeping it very straightforward to them, because everyone like most of the times what happens like interested folks absolutely they attend the session, they be attentive, they learn something and try to implement it later. And few of the folks like they got a mindset, but they fall back due to some restrictions, like they don't know what to do later. So yeah,
yeah,
um, providing a proper aspect to like a future thing to do. So I guess it's very much likely helpful to them. So yeah, I guess we are pretty much like covered up with the session. And yeah, thank you so much, Sankalp. Thank you for being here and providing this amazing session, I can say, because everything was covered over here, hands-on demo part, and your step-to-step approach to explain the things. And I'm pretty sure like many of the folks who are like who have attended and who will watch this YouTube live after as well, because we will make it available for everyone, we will share it, and make sure that many of the folks, as much as folks can take or like grab few knowledge from it, and get started with the AWS CI/CD as well. So thank you everyone for joining the session. You can join the community. We have also given the link over here, as well as you can subscribe to our newsletter. We have also got inspired from various newsletters, and we also thought of like why we shouldn't start with a newsletter thing. So we have also started our newsletter where we are sharing some community achievements and like different kind of things we have come up with. We are coming in the future as well. So if you want to stay tuned and keep yourself updated with the community updates, as well as you'll be getting, we are having something planned, amazing things planned for the future. Like we'll be coming up with some project stuff as well. So stay tuned and subscribe to our newsletter for like getting the updates as well. Also, if you want to know further things or like discuss further things about this session or like anything related to AWS or cybersecurity, you can also connect with Sankalp. I'll like you can see the LinkedIn handle of the Sankalp over here. I'll also put it in the comment. So make sure that you connect with him, and you can also discuss with him. I'm pretty sure Sankalp will cover it. So yeah, thank you everyone. Thank you for joining today. I know that it's been a pretty much great session over here, and everyone's waiting for getting their plans for the Sunday. So thank you everyone. We can end this session, and we are conclude this session over here. Thank you all.